Grab the coffee. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. We are live streaming on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you, everybody, for watching here. This is the Ask a Painter live show. It's a weekly live show where I use my over 2 decades. I'm actually in my 29th year of dabbling in painting. To answer any questions you have from a business owner point of view, from a master craftsman point of view. I've thought about these things long and hard. I know some basics about coding science, and we're here to do this. And by popular demand, we are back here on a Saturday morning. Everybody universally was basically saying, hey, I can actually see the show. I can actually interact with it when you do it Saturday morning. So we're going to go on a test run of shows for Saturday mornings and see how it goes. Normally, I am spiritually opposed to doing this because this is my family time. Friday at about 1 o'clock, I kind of stop for the week, spend time with family, and then all weekend. But if it can better the show, and my family's just kind of rousing, watching some morning TV, getting breakfast ready. So not a big sacrifice here if we can do that. So, all right, couple things here first. We are going to do something very interesting, which is an evolving thought for me today, which is a list of things that you need to do before you hire people. And I have some very deep thoughts on this. You guys will be tracking along. The Ask a Painter live show is a sort of evolving thing. If you go back a couple years ago, you can see when I was a single person painting company up to what we have now. And yeah, so it looks like we're doing good. Let me just, yeah, there we go. I am spiritually opposed to doing this. Stop it. Nasally drone, beat it. Okay, there we go. Just checking the feed. We're good. Okay, so we're going to talk about the PCA. We're going to talk about all the things you need to do before you hire. I have deep thoughts, like I said. So the PCA, the Painting Contractors Association, change of guard. There's a new leader in the PCA. The Elon Musk of our industry, Jason Paris, has taken the helm of the PCA now. And immediately, there were already changes put into place in his first board of directors meeting. Look out, folks. It's coming. There are going to be some awesome things happening. This is an evolving sort of organization. It's been around for 150 years. It's changing with the times. And if you want to talk about a change agent or somebody who you can trust at the helm of something like that, look no further than our industry friend, Jason Paris here. So again, all these thoughts were kicked off about 4 or 5 years ago when I first got involved with the Painting Contractors Association. Everybody I know from here, I've only met painters in 2 areas, PCA and Facebook and Instagram. And most of the people I know from Facebook and Instagram came from the PCA or were connections I've had where I've met you in person. We've shared an IPA. We've had long discussions about the human condition, owning a paint business, coding science, things like that. Everything that I know today has had a base in the people I met at the PCA. So just like my painting company is nothing without the humans in it. The PCA is nothing without the humans in it. It's a way, it's a method of gathering and organizing humans in a certain way where we can build camaraderie and culture, and there's a free interchange of information. Harken back to, I am now 39 years old. My dad started me in the business when I was 10. So 29 years I've been dabbling around with this trade. My father's generation thinks there's secrets, or used to think there's secrets, or believe that there is something that they know that all other people don't. There are a few things you can learn by experience. Most of them can be taught in a few weeks in a program like Apprenticeship 2.0, which we start Monday. The people in the PCA do know that basically there is no real secrets. There's things you can only learn from experience, but honestly, 80 to 90% of whatever we need to learn as business owners and craftspeople and master craftspeople can be taught very quickly. The rest of it does take a little bit of time, but it's not like you have to spend a lifetime doing this to master any of this stuff. The people in the PCA readily share this stuff. It is not the old guard anymore. It is not my father's generation of every painter's another enemy because they're stealing food from your children. We are all in this together. And right now, the Elon Musk of our industry has taken the helm of the PCA. One of the smartest, most cogent things I've ever heard somebody say in this industry. I heard Jason Paris say to Nick May at an industry event, many beers into a long discussion, at a big party, he said, our only competition is our own ability to execute our business plan. And if you take that mindset and go forward, every single painter is not the enemy. Local Facebook group up here, New Prague happenings, Lonsdale happenings, every town's got one like this. When somebody searches for a painter, I am so overjoyed to see guys' names like Rob Lenzen in there and all my other painter friends from the area, because I know they are good operators. They share our same core values. They actually know how to price jobs so they don't go out of business in a few years and resent their clients. They do insanely good work. And you would think that you would have this knee-jerk reaction of, oh man, I keep seeing this guy, he's the enemy. He's not the enemy. These people are our allies, and we can change this industry together, and we all do better when we all do better. So we're going to get to any question, any topic you guys want to talk about. There's a lot of things going on, but I want to talk about the one main thing, which is what to do before you actually hire. So here's the scenario. We have lots of people on the internet, on Facebook and Instagram, in the painters world that say, I want to grow my business, so I'm going to hire somebody. And that's the knee-jerk reaction. When you say there's not enough good people out here in our industry, the knee-jerk reaction is, let's get some painters. Well, that may not be it. We may need to take a few steps back. I'm saying, and the theory is, which I've been kind of developing over the last couple of years, is you cannot and should not hire people unless you are a professionalized business first, because you're going to bring them into a half-baked scenario and you're not going to be able to make them happy. So here's the thing that I've come up with. This is a living document. This is something, it's an evolving thought. It's not perfect. I'm getting input from craftspeople and business owners all over the country. But basically, when somebody says, hey, I'm going to hire somebody, what do I need to know? And I'll say, you have a lot of work ahead of you if you want to do this right. If you want to dabble, if you want to be unintentional, if you want to do an uncontrolled experiment, if you want to probably set yourself up for failure, don't do any of these things and just hire somebody, because you're going to bring somebody in, and number one, nobody's going to know how to hold each other accountable. So here's the deal. Down this process, when do you hire a painter? These are the things you need to do to have in place before you hire a painter. Number one, the entrance fee. I consider these things entrance fees to be able to even have the ability to hire somebody, have a proven process. You need to know how to paint stuff. If you still do not know what primer to use on a set of golden oak lacquered kitchen cabinets in order to enamel them, do not hire a human being. Get that down to where you have a zero failure rate. Your process, your chemicals, and everything need to be there so that if you thrust an employee into your company and you don't know what you're doing and you have a big failure, now, is it the human that did it, or is it the process, the coatings? You need to have a proven product. Now, there still are things that are evolving. Even in my company, we test out things, but in over 13 years, we have not had a cabinet failure. And that says that we have a proven process. Now, in this SOPs, let's see, where is Mahai? I saw that you posted on the Business Brush group your brand new SOPs. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody who has put a lot of time into thinking about what things you need to do to what and when in order to make sure that you have a proven process. If you guys haven't seen Mahai's example, he posted an example of one of his SOPs, and top notch, man. I mean, I know the amount of work that goes into that stuff. So basically, let's see here, SOPs. If you don't have one of these, this is a thing that I'll actually show you guys. So this is something that my new recruits are going to get right here. This is what we call the Laminated Field Packet, the cheat guide for everything in our company. So there's an SOP on what you need to do to update our company during the day. The next one is, there we go, wall and cabinet SOP. Trim and sealing SOP, infographics of all the tools and expendables and perishables that you need. And this is the sprayer cheat guide, basic sprayer operation. And this sucker right here is the tip pressure coating sprayer guide. Also, we have the standards, the things that you need to do to win in this company. That's laminated because in the field, it's going to get coffee spilled on it. It's going to get paint on it, things like that. If you do not have something that resembles that, so people know exactly what to do, they will probably fail. So number two, estimating process. If you still don't know really what to charge for something, or it's complete blue sky, I would say get your estimating process and above all marketing process down. You have to have a reliable amount of leads coming through in your company to make sure you have work for people. So in Minnesota, winters are long and dark and cold, and the jobs are a little harder to come by. You have to know how to produce work in order to keep your people busy. So let's see here. Painter deliverables and standards. So this is one of the biggest things that you need to do before you bring somebody in. Number one, there needs to be a job description that ties to your goal. It needs to list out everything that they do. So you're never going to find yourself in the position of that's not my job, something like that. And also, people, I will get to the questions in the comments on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to burn through this list first. So painters, deliverables and standards. The biggest thing you can do is figure out what people have to do in order to get a pay raise, because we find ourselves as business owners in these positions all the time where somebody says, I've been here for X amount of time. Can I get $1 an hour more? And at that point, everybody's basically running on feelings. I don't know. Do we need to give you $1? Do you feel like you deserve it? And nobody can point to anything besides I've been here for so long and I feel like I'm doing good work. If you have standards, if you say $55 an hour, no callbacks, things like that, and you job cost, again, back to the job costing, you can actually find out what they're producing an hour. So that when somebody says, listen, I've been here for 6 months, I feel like I deserve another $1 an hour, we can go to the jobs and we can say, well, actually, you've only been producing about $30 of revenue an hour. And we need you to produce 55. So let's come up with a training plan. Let's come up with a mentorship process for the next 3 months and see if we can get you to 55 an hour. And then we'll give you that raise. So again, it's not one of this adversarial relationships. You want people to make more money. You want people to do better work for your clients. Win together. It's not this adversarial relationship of they're trying to get $1 from you and you're trying to stop them from getting $1. You should help them create $5 more of revenue an hour so you can pay them $1 more of revenue an hour. Something like that. With the deliverables and standards, a job description. You need to actually have something on paper that says these are your job duties. A pay scale. Pay scale. They need to know that there's a future in your company. When somebody says, hey, I've been here for 7 months, I feel like I deserve a raise, just say, good, let's go to the pay scale. The thing that I handed you before I hired you. These are the things you need to do to progress through this in order to get that stuff. All right. Goal setting and review process. Every 3 months, everybody in my company gets to meet with me and the entire leadership team, and we actually review people. And it's not one of those things where you sit down and you just say, well, I feel like you've been doing this. You have to rate them on something. So we have the core values and the standards, and we actually assign a numerical value, 1 out of 10, to everything on here to track people. And then we set a goal for them and rate them on that goal as well. Work orders. So this is something we call the jump sheet. This is when Andy, my estimator, and I, the sales team, go out there and we sell a job or we estimate a job and a client wants us to do it for them. Our 2 production managers turn that estimate into this. This is basically a work order. It's a fun color-coded thing that our painters use that basically is the instruction manual for the job. Like, here's where you're going, here's what you're doing, and here's how many hours it's going to take. And you can see on here, talk about deliverables. When we enter a project price for this job, let's say it's a $4,500 job, it will actually spit out 63.8 hours that this job must be done in. That is your hourly budget. That's to actually help your painters know what they need to do in order to get a win on this. Now, the next thing is the project plan. When you go to this page, 63 hours. If this is one person, we work 10-hour days, they have 6 days and a little bit extra to get this job done. And based on that, they need to go on this thing called a project plan, and they need to fill out in 6 days what they have to do each day to get that job under budget. So again, coaching, this is not an adversarial relationship. This is trying to win together. Employee handbook. This is a big one. Mine is a 32-page employee handbook. Probably 28 pages of it are basic employment law. So you can get copies of this anywhere. It's basically like, think about an employee handbook like, here's the things you need to know about employment law. You're an at-will employee. Here's what you need to do if you need medical leave, if you're requesting time off. Here's things that we don't accept. There's harassment policies. There's chemical and drugs and vehicle policies and things like that. It is not a safety manual. It's more employment law. And then I throw on a bunch of stuff at the end, which is, our COVID plan, our pay scale, our standards, things like that. So again, somebody reads this, and the recruits that are coming in Monday, they are reading this now, and Monday morning, they're going to come here and we're going to go over it together, and they're going to sign off that they read, understand, and acknowledge every single thing on there. So again, when somebody says, hey, I'm requesting time off, it's Sunday night, it's 11 p.m., I'm requesting Monday off. Well, based on the employee handbook, you need to give, 24 to 48 hours notice. So that's not acceptable. You can take Tuesday off, but then we all agree to it. And they say, well, that's not fair. I need Monday off. And I say, well, we've all agreed that the employee resource guide, the employee manual, is something that you've read, acknowledged, and signed off on, and we need to have some sort of standards in the company. Okay, job costing. Now, people, you're probably getting sick of this already. You need to figure out how much labor and how much material you're using for each job. All of these things can be figured out with the baseline of job costing. You cannot hold employees accountable. You cannot, when somebody comes to you and says, I need a raise, there's no way to hold them accountable if you don't have the data. You can only do it on feelings. And two people are going to have two very different types of feelings about that sort of thing. And you want to have, I work better, humans work better when there's a clear finish line to a project. This is why decorative finishing sometimes isn't as easy of a industry to be in as standard residential repainting. Sometimes there's not a finish line to decorative finishing. Sometimes people have a feeling that says, even though you did a sample, I feel like it should have been more gold or more red, or I felt like there should have been more modeling or less modeling. In residential repainting, paint my cabinets dove white, that's a finish line. With decorative finishing, sometimes not. So you need to set up the whole employee interaction so that they can have a clear finish line at the end of this stuff. So at that point, thing number 5 in purple there, hire a painter. Well, good. At this point, if you have these things in place, they do not have to be perfect, but you have to have them in place. 4 to 5 years since we kind of redid the entire business and grown at this rate, all these things have been evolving. I changed them all just in the last 2 weeks to get ready for Apprenticeship 2.0. One of my core values is constant improvement. I hold my craftspeople and my apprentices to it. I hold myself to it as well. These are living documents. Even this document is likely going to change in the next 6 months. Then after that, you have to have an onboarding process, training process, and retaining process. This whole document can be boiled down into, you need to be better. You need to be a real business, a professionalized business, or at least have the modicum of a professionalized business, because you're going to do a disservice to these awesome people we're bringing into the industry if you do not do this. They're going to have a horrible time, and they're going to leave the trades. Just like in the last 30 years, there's been this exodus and now disinterest in the trades because of this sort of thing. We're bringing people in here. We think if we need to grow a business, the first thing we need to do is grab a bunch of people. The first thing you need to do is to go through these basic steps. These are the entrance fees in order to having a real professionalized business. Open to have my mind changed as well and add to this list if anybody wants. So let's get to questions, comments. Let's go through Instagram first here. Holy cow, lots of people on Instagram. Thanks everybody for watching. Let's go through here. Man, lots of familiar names on there. Thank you. I won't stop and acknowledge everybody, but man, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Paint school. Jason Pierce is basically a business tech nerd who happens to be in the paint biz. He's an executor. I'm confident he'll make some excellent changes. Yeah, that would be an understatement. All right, paint school. Your failure rate is very high if you wing it. Yes, that could be said for anything in life. All right. Cutting edge painter. We focus on interior and cabinets only. This helps drastically staying in our lane for repeatable margin jobs. What is your sign-on sheet with all of your new hires? We are finally growing our team. So the sign-on sheet is not really a one thing. It's all those things. So again, if you guys would like a copy of this to start creating your own, this is sort of the roadmap to that sort of thing. If you would like a copy of this, nick@nickslavic.com, and I will send that to you. The sign-off sheet is many things. I can actually show you here. This is our hiring packet. We have a cover page. We have a job description. Actually here, yeah, job description there. We have pay scale there. We have standards. We have direct deposit authorization. We have I-9. We have Minnesota W-4. We have standard W-4. And I'm going to sneeze, I think. Okay, passed. Those are the basic things that somebody does to get in here. And then we have the employee resource guide. And then basically, I think that's about all they sign on, like things they actually sign. But all those things together, basically, they sign everything that goes into this thing right here. All these are in some form where they can easily digest it. They also sign off on our safety program too. We have an industry-leading safety program here, series of videos, pictures, things very special to our company that actually makes people safe. And yeah, that's what we do. So Cutting Edge Painter, Nick at nickslavic.com if you want to discuss more or if you need any resources. I see my good buddy Zach Kenny on there. What's up, Zach? Oh, here we go. Paint finisher. Tell us how you can track each employee's individual productivity. Job costing, people. Job costing. I will show you exactly what we're talking about here. So if we go to my magical dashboard, my 2021 dashboard here, and this is going to be very, very in-depth with numbers here. My two production managers create this, and I verify it every week. This is basically an accounting of every single job that we do in a year. And this gets very large, as you can imagine. This is each one of these lines, these red and these green here are an indication that something went above standard or below standard on a job. And you can see right here that if you look at any of these things, this is a project right here. And there's people on here. There's 2 humans listed on this thing right here. And when they ask for a raise, we'll say, well, let's just compile a list of your projects, which we do at the review. And we say, okay, well, the GP on this one was 68.3%. You made $93 of revenue an hour, and you did not get a callback. We have a callback button right here, and you did not get a callback. That's an overwhelming win. This is how you hold your employees accountable on each job. Let me know if that helps. Let's see what else we got on Instagram. Then we're going to flip over to Facebook. Paint finisher. How do you talk so fast and not have pauses, hums, and ahs? I have a lot of stuff to say, and my brain works faster than my mouth sometimes. So I don't know that I have a lot of, I just did times for pauses. Let's see here. Francosi, where do you access these documents? Again, Nick at nickslavic.com. Email is the most efficient way that I can transfer these things to you guys. So just let me know, what you need. I give everything away for free. I give the show away for free. I'd look for I kind of take the public radio model where I find underwriters to underwrite the show so that they pay for the content so you guys don't have to. I would rather widely distribute this stuff. I will give you everything I have, but you got to email me. You got to tell me what it is that you want. You can't just email and say, hey, send me the stuff. You have to say, here's the problem I'm experiencing, or here's the thing you mentioned I was going to give. And I'm going to ask you one small thing. Review the Ask a Painter show. You get on Facebook and you write me a review. Small thing. Maybe 10% of the people actually do. I send out hundreds and hundreds of documents every month, and only 10% of the people leave me a review. Fine, but it's an easy thing to do, and you guys have no idea how much that helps me. This show gets brought out to more painters across the entire world the more you review it. So please take the time and just leave me a quick review. All right. Direction and goals. Paint school. Direction and goals to keep everyone motivated. Absolutely. All right, paint finisher. I'm going to post a job posting on the website now. All right, man. Get after it. Let me know how it goes. Would you be willing to share that job costing template? Yes. Blake. Oh, Blake, fellow Minnesota guy. Absolutely. Nick at nickslavic.com. Happy to do that. The job costing template is one of the most popular things that I send out, and I've got a whole bunch of different versions of it. All right, so let's go back to this guy right here. All right, let's get back to Facebook here. We got lots of stuff going on there. Oh, man, good. So many familiar faces here. Oh, it's so awesome. Holly, how do you make sure my painters are better finishers? I have great painters, 10 years more experience, but I still need to walk around. Dude, there's paint on the woodwork. Wipe it off. Okay, so Holly, series of unsatisfying sort of questions and answers, which is you can control all of this. If you do not have the things on this side of the screen in place, a standard operating procedure, a training process, a way to hold them accountable, a way to show them that a job is good or bad, honestly, you can't really yell at them too much. If you haven't set the standard for that, if you haven't told them what is acceptable or not, then you kind of need to shore all that stuff up first. Maybe a job site checkoff list of saying, here's are the things you need to check off before you do that. And the most unsatisfying part of this is it takes us standing there on site, either training with them or setting up the job, checking in on them, and then closing out the job with them. It takes a lot of human interaction. My two production managers go do that to hold everybody accountable to the SOPs. One of the ways we actually make a list of things that they need to do during a year to win. Number one, all work must be done by the standard operating procedure, and you must hold them accountable to that. So again, the unsatisfying thing is what people want is a video to send your painters that will solve this. You need to be the one to solve this on site with them to make sure that they understand what's acceptable. Lamont, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Parker, high-speed Parker. Here we go. Parker is a young soldier, a recent college graduate who's worked for me for 4 summers, and I actually just hired him on, recruited him to be on my leadership team. So when people say there's no upward mobility in the industry, he's worked for less than about a year in the painting industry, and he's now leading a world-class apprenticeship program. He is my head trainer. When the decision to hire is made, what are some processes and info the owners managers can use to suss out those who won't be a good fit? Yes, Parker, you and I talk about this a lot. Here's the thing. I like to put lots of hurdles in front of people. The hiring process, again, in that little purple thing, number 5, there's a lot in there. It's decades of work goes into it. So number 1, you got to have a job description in order to make a job ad. If you, again, you've heard this from me before. If you put a job ad out there that says 3 years experience, lift 50 pounds, own tools, driver's license, you are going to get garbage humans in your company. Do not do that. Do something different. We put an artful picture out. We tell people that, if you actually want to love your job, you come here and I'll show you. You may not have wanted to be a painter. You may not have thought about it, but I love this more than anything. I can show that to you too. That's going to appeal to millennials and people that are feeling unsatisfied in this random cubicle world or random sorting facility world out there. So number 1, job description in order to make a really good job ad. And then you have to go where the millennials are. Millennials are 19 to 39, give or take. They're going to be on Facebook. They're going to be on Instagram, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. There's other places you can go to. Those are the big ones. Go where they are. You can use Craigslist. Not great in my market up here. It works for other people like that. And then you need to have a interview process. So here's my interview process. And basically there are no secret interview questions. There are no magical things you can do to weed people out. The best thing I've found is that number 1, if you have a special ad, only self-selecting people will select into that ad. And already you've culled the herd from, sad, semi-alcoholic, burned out, middle-aged people who hate painting. But since I found myself here, let's just get a job in it. Our companies cannot reform these people. If they're not good people, we're not going to make them good people. So you got to have that process. Number 1, people will self-select on the job ad. Number 2, you have to schedule a phone interview. And already 30% of the people either won't be available. I've scheduled phone interviews with people where, we schedule it. I send them a reminder an hour or 2 before, and they're all on board. When it comes time, they're like, well, I'm a little bit busy now. Can you call me back later? Good. You have just deselected yourself from this entire process. If you cannot spare 8 minutes for a phone call on a selected time and date, not a fit. Moving on. You're checked off the list. The people who pass the phone interview get a personality assessment in my company. We send them a DISC profile, and now we have a couple data points. They've selected into the ad. They've passed my phone interview process. They sound happy. They're interested. They ask the right questions. And then they have the personality assessment, and we kind of use that. That doesn't qualify or disqualify. It kind of helps us understand what we're getting into. And then for the people who do all that stuff well, we have a sit-down interview with me and the leadership team. And this whole process, we're looking for something we call MPC, mass personal chaos. Nothing will ruin your company more than mass personal chaos. We can control all the things that happen in our business. We cannot control the personal lives of people. So we want people with stable lives that will not bring their own chaos into our company. And then at that point, the cool thing, we made an insanely good addition to this, which is when we're looking for experienced painters, what we then do is when we decide to hire them, we have a 2-week waiting period. That allows them to put in their 2 weeks notice somewhere else. It also allows the process to weed them out again. And the last time we did this, 2 people that we decided we were going to give a chance to come in during that 2-week period, the employers that they're in currently, which they profess to hate and loathe and not like the work or anything, no future, bad pay, everything. Their employers counter offered and gave them more money, and they both decided to stay, which initially makes you very sad. It's like, oh my God, we went through this whole process and everything, but good. You just self-selected out. If you were willing to jump ship with somebody who has health insurance, retirement, world-class training, finishing facility, a leadership team, a boss who loves us more than anything else and wants to teach us to you, if you will jump ship for another 75 cents an hour, good. You're not one of us. You're not coming in. So interesting. That's the next addition to this, which is even after you hire somebody, before they get to the company, we're weeding them out. Now, Apprenticeship 2.0 starts Monday. We have everything ready for them, ready to go. Now, for a week or two, they're going to be with me and head trainer Parker, and we're sussing out MPC again. If these people are late 3 times, if they don't do the things we ask, if they're on their phone all day, if they're taking 20 cigarette breaks, guess what? You don't get into my company. You don't get to meet my beloved craftspeople. We're going to suss you out again. So there's about 6, 7 different things that we do to limit people coming into our company in order to reduce that mass personal chaos. Tim Milner, who does job costing? Is it you or someone on the production side? Both my production managers do that, and then I hold them accountable every Monday morning. I like the review process, the cheat sheets, and giving the employees the pays. I'll look forward to. We have to do it, man. I've ran a version of this company for many years where none of this was in place, where it was like, hey, man, we're going to change the industry. This is great. I love my job. There's a future for you in it. But if you just say that and people don't see it, then there's no future in it for them. So, Gerardo, how's it going, man? David, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Leonardo, Angie, Cindy. Cindy, how's it going? Okay, 4 times a year, quarterly. We sit down with everybody in the company. Everybody gets about an hour, and we review them. The biggest, funnest thing for me is, yes, you go through the core values, you go through the standards, the deliverables, and you rate them, and fine, it's good. It's great. We get through that, and we check on their goal. We set a goal, and then I kind of help them meet that goal over the last 3 months. The thing I like most about that is their time, which we call the open door policy, which is just talk. We try to get through this stuff just so they can talk. And when we do employee reviews for somewhere between 10 and 25 people, we find a through line through it. And that helps me as an employer, as a boss, as the sort of arbiter and the standard holder in the company to stay ahead of employee issues should we need it. Do people need more training? Is the pay thing out of whack? Is there a possible culture bomb happening in the company? Is the equipment good? Is the schedule, you can find out all these things through those through lines. And one of our goals in the leadership team, every single time we have reviews, is I need you to put your ear to the ground and find out what is the through line with these things. And we all collaborate on that. Oh, Chris DeGidio, how do we get these copies? You guys know what to do. Nick@nickslavic.com. But again, you must specifically tell me what you'd like. And I'm going to ask you to review the Ask a Painter show. It has taken me about 5 years to develop these things, and they still are developing. I have put in, even this last Thursday and Friday, I put in 10 hours straight at my computer at 2 different stints, massaging Apprenticeship 2.0, massaging these documents, looking for errors, making sure they all correlate, they work towards a goal. All I ask, 20-second review for Ask a Painter. It will get it out to more painters. It will get more people like you guys involved. Angie, I want to see that spreadsheet so bad. Yes, I will send you a template if you like. Share the love of the spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. They are magical things. Especially my leadership team is fantastic at them as well, and they share my love for them. Let's see here. Jim. Oh, Jim, how's it going? How long on average does it take one of your new hires to achieve $55 an hour? The answer is it varies. We've had some people do it in 3 months. You think about some of the core in my company, they were made crew leads at about 3 months. And some people after a year, they still don't make it. And then we either have to make the decision. I want them to be able to do everything in our company under budget to standard in a year and lead a crew and start training somebody else. And honestly, it's not fair. And this is why the biggest lesson for me of 2020 is you cannot wait for people in the company to tell you what is fair as far as pay and benefits and all this other stuff. You as a leader need to stay ahead of it. So here's a scenario, Jim. We have 2 apprentices that come on, both similar age, similar whatever else. I let people sort of negotiate between 15 and 18 bucks an hour their first year. If you ask for 18, we're going to hold you to a higher standard. If you ask for 15, we hold you to a lower standard. Somebody negotiated 15 and basically was able to run their own crew in 3 to 6 months. Somebody negotiated 18 and did not be able to do that. In fact, it took them probably 9 to 12 months in order to get most of our things. This created a culture bomb in the company where people were saying, this isn't fair. This person's making this. They're not doing this. I'm out here doing this. Meanwhile, we're in between review processes. And I knew that I was going to equalize pay to make sure that everybody was paid what their equivalent of, but the painters did not. And I don't blame them because there was no thing saying out there that, hold on, just wait. So we had a culture bomb in the company where all of a sudden people started talking a lot about wages, and I need to do a mass reorganization of wages preemptively in between these sort of things to make sure that people were being paid equivalent of what their value was. So that being said, that's tough. It's tough. But if you have these standards, at least we can say this person does meet the standard or does not meet the standard, which is a nice thing to do. So, David. That is a heck of a hat, David. Holy mama. You'll love this, Nick. I'm listening and my wife says, hey, this guy's really good. I like him. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Oh, Lucas. Oh my God. How's it going, man? Lucas is across the pond. Nick, after learning from, I started collecting data, but I gave price before that. I made a big mistake, but based on this 1 week job, another estimate is up plus or minus 5%, wrong from reality. How it works, but requires patience. And yes, Lucas and I have been talking a lot over email about this sort of thing. And I love talking with him. Progressive mind. I feel like like this last little period for you was like me 4 or 5 years ago when somebody gave me this info. And it just like sparks are going off in your head and you're seeing your business through another thing and your mind is focusing and there's like a path. There's a path forward. I think the kindest thing that I can do for people, which was done for me, which is there's all the options out there. There's everything. There's infinity options. Somebody told me this way, that way, right there. Just go this way. Start walking this way and you will have success. You don't have to worry about all this other stuff. You can get to that later this way. And focusing that effort is a magical, magical thing. Thank you so much. Dave Pine. Love the show. Love you share your SOPs. You sent us a few things. I wanted to leave a review on your Facebook. Couldn't figure out how. Can you take a minute to explain? Yes. So absolutely. When I send you those things, I actually send you a link to my Facebook page. You click on that blue Ask a Painter Live thing, and it'll take you to a place that says leave a review. And that's all I ask. Chris. Awesome. Fellow Minnesota painter. Absolutely, man. Always like talking with you too, Chris. Thoughtful dude. Really enjoy listening to the show. You'll be hearing from me soon as I give you that review. Absolutely, guys. Seriously, it seems stupid. You guys have no idea when people, about a year ago, I started saying, hey, I'll give you everything you want, but just leave me a review. The show has reached more people and has grown more in the last year than it ever has because we are working with the algorithms of the magical Facebooks. If you leave more reviews and more good reviews, magically, this will go out to more people. So please, we need to gather the largest, most thoughtful group of paint business owners and master craftspeople in the world here, and your reviews will help. All right, Juan, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. From Lancaster. I was just there with my good friend Corey Leister. Hey, Nick, where do I go to receive a packet? nick@nickslavic.com. If you email me, but you have to request specific things. Do not send me an email and say, send me the stuff. You need to say, this is the thing I saw, and this is the thing I will ask. If you just say, hey, Nick, send me your whole Google Drive, I will not comply with that. You need to make a specific request, and I will give you a free specific thing. Kaylin, absolutely no problem. Yes. So here's another thing. People always say, hey, email me. They send me their email address. Guys, please make this easy for me. I do all this for free. So if I find emails in my inbox, I can just reply to them. So yes, perfect. All right. Mark, glad I listened. Definitely a gem. We'll leave reviews to help increase what you're doing here. Wish I would have done this early in my career. Same. Absolute same. Luckily, I still have a lot of time to act on it. I'm very grateful that I do. So, yeah, very much looking forward to our interaction here. Let's go through Instagram, see what else we got here. Okay. Holy mama, lots of people on here. Yes. Oh, there's Blake's comment. I'm Benny here. Thanks for sharing. So being an amazing person and a craftsman in the trade. Thanks. I don't take compliments very well. I was told that I need to accept them better. So thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see who else got here. Oracle, good morning. M&D, thank you so much. Paint finisher. I created my kitchen cabinet refinishing checklist, and it's a series of 100 steps, and I sometimes need to go through to make sure I didn't skip it, even though I'm the creator. All right. Interesting, guys. So again, there's lots of ways to go about this. People take different tasks on creating SOPs, standard operating procedures. I came from the military background, which, oh my God, they are known for drudgery, SOPs that are this thick in order to basically load and unload a machine gun. This, what you're seeing right here, is 22 steps from the time you drive up to a house to the time you drive away in order to paint one bedroom, with times associated on the side, what needs to happen, basic things. My task, the thing that I decided I was going to do with my SOPs is simpler is better. I would rather have 100% compliance with an 80% good system than 0% compliance with a masterful system. Now, here's the thing that I do. This SOP, this is made to be taken into the field. They set it down on the job site and they can quick reference it. Now, the training portion of this is probably a 160 slide presentation on PowerPoint that we actually train. So what I do is quick reference. There's a quick reference cheat sheet that people take and we train in between the gaps. So when it says sand patches, people will know that there's a 3M sanding patch and you have a light in your hand. When it says like remove the tape, we know that we start from the door you walk in on and go around in a clockwise fashion. But if you write all this stuff down, it's a monstrous document that nobody's going to comply with. So I decided that make it simple for people. I think people will adapt to this much better. And it actually is a masterful system. And they'll pick up all the small things in between. All right, back to Instagram. Paint school and paint finisher are both kind of chatting here. Might be nice to shorten that on-site direction. Maybe the 100 steps is the training, then shorter checklist. We think alike. Very well. Red Oak, good morning. Paint school, same probables happened with my SOPs a couple of years ago. Oh, Friesen, Kendall. Are wages openly discussed between team members? What are your thoughts on that? I tell people to be quiet professionals. They do not, and I don't hold it against them. People will talk about their wages no matter what. Some people more boisterously and loudly than others. You can't stop it. You won't stop it. It's going to happen. You can create a good culture, though, that you know that there's an open door policy to your boss, Kendall, and that if somebody does feel there's a wage inequity, they can talk to you. And that's more important than trying to stop people from talking about wages, because you will not stop it. Having standards gives you an up on all the disputes and questions. Yes, absolutely. What else we got here? There's some inner chat, just making sure I find a good. Great show, Nick, as usual. How do you track production for each employee when they're a team of two? You track them as a team, and they are responsible for getting that job in under budget. Now, we have a little bit of flexibility, like we have Trainer Tina, which is one of the industry's most masterful trainers. She is a master craftsperson herself. I just turned in one of her jobs for a national award, multiple national awards. She did decorative painting on a 130-year-old theater restoration in downtown Minneapolis. She also is the head trainer of the company in the field. So when we give Tina 1 to 4 new recruits to train, I'm not sitting there screaming at her saying your job went a little over budget, because we're investing. This is the R&D budget. We're investing in these people. So honestly, what you have to do is when somebody is in their 1 to 6 month or 1 to 9 month thing, they can probably do a job themselves, but we don't normally kick them out of the nest too soon because we want them to focus on the craft and not that. Now, we just had a really good team in my company is Fresh Alex, a person we call Fresh Alex, and Young Shane. And those two do world-class work. They bring in jobs way under budget. And this last week, they just finished up a monstrous trim cabinet wall carpentry tile job at this house, many, many weeks. And my production managers actually, because, we had specific jobs, we split them up onto 2 separate jobs. And guess what? Young Shane brought in a job masterfully under budget, and so did Fresh Alex. So you know that this is going to happen. And sometimes you have to give people their own little tests. What we do on site, what we do with Tina sometimes is if she has a project where there's 2 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms to do in a house, she'll give the apprentice 2 of the bedrooms and she'll do 2 of the bedrooms. And then you can actually track their time there. And that's why we have, if you look at, let's go back to my jump sheet. Here's a jump sheet. If you go here, this is how you track individual production. Each person writes their name down here, what they're going to do during the day, and then they write how much time it took. They do that themselves so we can track their progress here. A standard in my company is a 4-hour bedroom. We want somebody to be able to complete that list, that's SOP in 4 hours. And on the side here, I actually list out how long each thing should take, like that. So that's how we track that sort of stuff. Let's see. Exceptional painting. Hope that helps. Dominic Crowley. Is there a big difference between costing fine paints of Europe on cabinets? I see you're working on some doors. Yes. So interestingly enough, huge difference in cost because you're doing 3 coats of primer versus our standard 1, and you're doing multiple coats of a very finicky finish. Now, it's not just the paint, though, that makes it expensive. It's everything you have to do in between, and especially getting a dust-free environment. So it's one of those things where when you see dudes at Zach Kenny, the time and the thoughtfulness they put into it, it takes a lot of time. It's this evolving thing. Now, I also love guys like Eric Reason, which are fine. Fine Paints of Europe is this thing. It's very finicky, high risk, high reward. There's many other ways to do this stuff and give people fine finishes that you can mess around with. So if you guys don't follow Eric, if you don't follow Eric Reason, if you don't follow Zach Kenny, do it now. Very interesting perspectives of the industry. But yes, the bigger problem for me about Fine Paints of Europe is I love John Leahy, the owner of it. I love all the guys who do it. I love the paint. I've been around for 30 years in the industry. I used to paint walls with oil paint. You used to be able to go down to Sherwin-Williams and get Promar 200 flat oil wall paint. I have done this. I know what oil paint feels like. This is the best oil paint. Now, the other problem is, Dominic, is there a market for a $3,000 to $5,000 entry door repaint? Yes, but maybe not as much as Boston, where I live. So now you have to be conscious of, yes, you can use this stuff. Is there a market for those sort of things here? And can you recoup your price? Because I do know that it is very hard to run consistent, profitable jobs using a lot of that stuff just because of the variables that come into it and the timelines and things. So, all right, let's catch up with Instagram here. Do you give bonuses? If so, what has to happen if the clients give you spread evenly over the team? Anything that comes from the clients get directly done to the painters. I just let them, if there's a cash bonus, if there's food, I usually ask that they bring a little bit of the good food back, but if they eat it, that's fine. Yes, there are the ad hoc, there are the random bonuses that we even had one client send a series of 6 Christmas cards, each individually addressed to the painters that helped her on her Victorian house with cash in there. That's all for the painters. That's all for them. They did all the work. They get it. It's a huge win for them. We actually have formal bonuses for the sales team and for the production team based on their goals as well too, based on job costing. So another interesting thing here, guys, is that this leads up to something else. All these jobs, every job that is good GP, everything that you see here that is green in this column goes into a column for my production people and my sales people as a good gross profit job. And they actually get a percentage of that job quarterly. So that's, again, what we do for them as well. Yes, and for the tips, I usually don't get the tips. The tips go right to the painters. They usually intercept them and say, hey, the client gave us $20. Like, good, you got $20 now. Thank you. And I usually ask that they post it on our Slack message thing just so other people know, like, hey, this is awesome. They did a good job. And it's kind of like a little humble brag in there too. Also, we actually have a brag board over here. Let's see if I can mess this up enough. Oop, this way. All the love notes and things from clients are all, this is from the last quarter of last year, a whole bunch of little thank yous and love notes and other things. And I collect those things to then show our painters and show them, like, yeah, listen, you guys are doing really good. Like, these are love letters from our clients up there. So, all right, let's go through Facebook here, and we're approaching an hour here. Mark. Has it been easy to do your price increase knowing of people's financial issues? I guess give me a little price increase for my estimates or price increase for my painters. Let me know, DC Professional Painting, what you're talking about there. This is my first year running a paint business. You're an invaluable resource. Thank you for making us better painters. Yes, absolutely. And again, Travis, we're all trying to solve the same things, and most of us are trying to solve them alone from first principle reasoning, which is trying to, again, there's infinity options and we're starting to wade through them. We can do this together, and we're all going to do this better because of this. We will know if the mission of Ask a Painter and myself and my business and the PCA, if the mission of all this works to reform the industry, make this better. In 10 years, we're going to look back and say, this was the start. And if we can attract world-class people like the Elon Musk of the industry, Jason Paris, a whole bunch of other people like that, we know that we will have succeeded, but we need to be real businesses. I love Noah Cantor. If you guys don't follow him, Noah is right now going through what I went through a couple of years ago, which is sort of the master craftsman route, grow a business route. And we're trying to find where they meet, where they intersect, where those Venn diagrams, kind of concentric circles meet and like that. And in the past, people have always thought like, well, you can be either a master crafts person or you can actually make money. And that is a BS excuse. You can do both. You can make happy clients. You can pay your people really well. You can do world-class award-winning work. You can also take care of your own family. Because if you just go out there and make a whole bunch of happy clients, give them bottom dollar prices, world-class work, but your family's struggling, they're stressed at home, and you're going to resent every other human in your life. We can do better. Everybody can do better. Leonardo, can you do a show on your thoughts on marketing? I'm curious what's your response. Yes, I will actually do that. I am preparing for a blowout show about estimating and the theory of estimating. I've done this before, and it seems like it didn't hit home very well. Price comes from, and how you can figure out how to estimate something you've never estimated before. I will also talk about marketing. This is actually a little simpler. The longer you're in business, the better word of mouth and referrals you're going to have. If you don't have that now, you kind of got to force stuff. And there are two lines. There is free stuff and there is not free stuff. The free stuff is sort of printing off stuff and going door to door and handing things out, interacting on Facebook and Instagram. Again, takes effort, not money. There's things that take money and not effort, which is direct mail, paid advertising, and all these things, and lots of deep thoughts. But yes, I will put that on my list, Marketing 101 and my data. And now the only thing is, there is not a one size fits all. I know in the Colorado market, some people have, or the Denver market, some people have the best luck with hiring from Craigslist. I get trash from Craig. I get scary human beings from Craigslist here. And I've never had in a decade another instance of somebody not being a scary human being coming from Craigslist. So I will tell you what I do. It's backed by data and feelings, but remember, it changes market to market, give or take. Oh, Donnie. Oh, fellow Minnesota. I love Donnie. He's one of my favorite people in the industry. Let's discuss work comp. So nothing is more interesting to me or boring than work comp. It's just it's a horrible, horrible thing that you hope you never, like, all insurance to me, Donnie. And I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but insurance to me is the grossest thing on the entire planet. It's this thing you pay for. You really don't get anything for it. And you hope you never use it. And when you do use it, you get penalized for it, I feel, generally. And, especially when you think of a company this size and we have health insurance now, which is a complete quagmire. I love getting it for my people, but it is the most difficult, most frustrating, most asinine thing I've ever had to deal with. We have retirement plans, the work comp, the liability insurance, all sorts of crazy umbrella policies to the tune of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month for nothing. If I could take the thousands and thousands of dollars that I pay to insurance every month and feather the nests of my employees, I would be the happiest man on earth. But it just goes poof into the ether, and I hope I never use it. So insurance for me is the grossest thing on the face of the planet. I get no pleasure from it, and I only want to interact with it when I have to. That's my feelings. Sorry, all you insurance salespeople out there. I don't like it. I'm not interested. But Donnie, yes, we can go into deep work comp discussion anytime you like. Price increases in both estimate and wages of your painters. So I only increase my prices on my estimates based on a couple things. There is no right answer to what is the correct price, because are you aggressively trying to grow a business? Do you have crazy winters in Minnesota where it's hard to get work? If you're a single person painter, you might be able to increase your prices to an enormous rate because you don't need that much work. When you have a big machine like I do, you have to keep your prices fairly reasonable to compete with everybody else in order to have the work there so that you can keep your company running, so that you have something to train your people on. That's the sort of thing. Now, increases for wages for your painters. Again, I'm learning as a leader over the last 4 to 5 years. My pay scales were kind of there, but I never really had surety with them. 2020 was the year where legitimately I got surety because, again, people, data plus feelings. I felt like I paid my people a good wage. After all, we're starting people in my company with basically no high school education, no experience at $36K a year with a whole bunch of benefits. You already have about 110 hours of paid vacation your first year. We actually pay for lunches, a half an hour every day, and that's the equivalent of 100 to 110 hours of free paid time off. We have a 4-day work week. We have all this stuff. If you stay with me for a year, you get health insurance, retirement, all this other stuff, more paid time off. I knew that I was paying people a good wage because I went to a whole bunch of employers in my area and I said, what do you pay your people? And what do you expect from them? And the one piece of data that I got that really opened my mind up, that gave me surety, was if you want to be a first-year school teacher in this school district that I'm in right now, you will probably make about $40,000 to $43,000 a year. That's the equivalent of $20 to $21, $22 an hour. I'm starting my people off at $18 an hour. And what do my people not need? They do not need a college education. They don't need $100,000 in debt. They don't need any of that other stuff. Somebody who's starting off their career as a teacher will make $20 to $22 an hour, probably, maybe more, maybe less, and will have a boatload of debt behind them. And they would have been out of the workforce for a bunch of years. And they probably have their own house to pay for and all this other stuff. So in the end, I'm paying people about $2 less than somebody who has a college education. And I will teach them everything they know. There is teaching, there is mentoring in the school district, but you kind of expected to do your thing as a teacher. With my company, all you got to do is be a decent human being. So my wages are not out of whack. In fact, if somebody really got after it, I did this experiment for the company. We have a 4-day work week. If you were to put in a Friday and a Saturday every week, I know it's a lot of work, but you could move 5 years up in my pay scale and make over $60K a year easily if you were to do that in my company. So a first-year apprentice, Let's say you're 18 and a half years old. You've never had a job before. You didn't graduate high school. You have no experience. You come into my company. If you are the most decent of human beings, if you follow all my core values, if you accept training and you bust your tail, you make 60 grand a year and you get benefits. So you tell me. I believe that's a good thing for people out there, especially when you consider I only pay myself 60 grand a year to run this company. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Noah, here we go. Looking to pay as you go work comp through QuickBooks Online, way more modern of a concept. Yes. So I love this thought. I wish we could get a group of business owners together and do private insurance where we could get 20 or 30 people together. We all pay the premiums in, and if nobody uses it, we pay the premiums back. I hear that sometimes this is a semi-illegal thing. I know some people have to go into crazy Virgin Islands to do this sort of thing. I do also know that some people do private insurance, and it really depends on the state, the country, the whatever else. Nothing makes me sadder than paying insurance. And I hope we can find a solution. 2021 is the year where I'm going to really focus on that and streamline it. There's so much other low-hanging fruit in the business to do, especially mentoring and teaching the apprentices and things like that I'm just not getting there now. But yes, I love that very much. Leonardo. Do you actually advertise that you're looking for decent human beings? Yeah, actually, for those of you who've seen my ads, when I have my master's class on apprenticeship, one of my ads is, I'm looking for decent human beings. If you make the cut, you're part of the family. Email me. That's it. And all it is a picture of a painter, a really artful picture of a painter. That's all I ask. Again, you have to do something different when you ask for people. My ads say decent. You must be a decent human being. So when somebody comes in here and is not a decent human being, I said, you responded to the ad. You knew what you were getting into. Okay, so let's go back through Instagram, and I think we'll call it a day there. All right. Remnant restoration. Do you have a safety manual and training for employees? Do we ever? Holy mama. We have a world-class safety system. I've adapted it from OSHA. We've taken our own videos. We've taken videos from the internet. We've taken all sorts of Department of Labor things. We've compressed it down into something that I feel actually keeps people safe. There is no set safety plan that OSHA says for painters. If you do this, if you train this, you are now safe and covered. They sort of leave you out to dry. There's things you can piece together, but there's not a set thing you can do to cover your rear end. So yes, our training is a very complex thing. It's not the SOPs. It's not just these. This is 10%. If you write this down and you file it away in a cabinet drawer, this is useless, completely useless. 10% of success with training is a standard operating procedure. 90% is having a human there who knows the SOP to teach you and hold you accountable to it. So yes, it doesn't matter what you teach people. If you don't hold them accountable to it, it's worth zero, absolutely zero. Not sure if this is everywhere, but in California, we have to keep injury and illness prevention program, basically a safety. Yeah, absolutely. Now, some people get a little more strict or more lenient with this stuff. Technically, as a painting company, you don't have to have any of this stuff. You don't have to have a safety program. You don't have to have anything until something happens. Then you have to have it, and it's good to have it in place before that happens. M&D, is it possible to pay your craftspeople $40 or $50 an hour with 10 or less painters? Yes. I am going to show you guys something. Anything is possible, but they have to produce the equivalent amount of revenue. So I'm going to see if I can find a resource for you. I actually have a template that I can send you. This is something that I've sent out to many people. When somebody says, hey, this guy's coming in asking for $30 an hour, is he worth it? Well, or she, I can actually tell you. All right, let's do this together here, folks. So let's do a thought experiment. These are my favorite things. I do this stuff all the time. What should I pay an apprentice, craftsperson, or painter? Okay, so we're assuming there's 2,000 hours a year, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a year, usually 2 weeks time off. There's 261 working days in a year, 8 hours per day. Charge rate, we generally charge about, $55 an hour. We try to produce that. Potential, how to use this template, painter project. Okay, so Oh, let's see here. Let me make sure I get all the variables right to do this. Wages per hour. Let's go. Yeah, here we go. You want to pay somebody $40 an hour right here. You type this in. That's $80,000 a year. You want to keep labor to 40% of your expenses. So that means they're going to have to produce even more revenue. They're going to have to produce twice the amount of revenue as somebody who's making $20 an hour. They are going to have to produce $200,000 of revenue in a year. Now, I don't know, is that a lot? Is that a little? They're going to have to produce $766 a day or $96 an hour. So again, back to job costing, folks. If you send this painter out on if somebody says, hey, I want to make $40 an hour, you say, good, let's do this job. And if you bring it in at $96 an hour, technically you've earned $40 an hour or the equivalent of that. The other problem is, can they do this forever? People have blips. Sometimes we sell a job for a very high price and the painter performs at a standard rate, but then the rate goes up because we sold it for a higher price, or maybe it's a last minute job or a higher value job. So that's how you figure that stuff out. Yes, it's possible. I do know that there's two magic numbers in our paint industry, 25 and 30. It feels like people who can sort of paint can command 25. People who can paint generally, but are not perfect, they can command up to 30 in some places. But they're commanding that price from companies that aren't professional. They don't know what's going on. They're not job costing. And these people get laid off. These people get fired. These people run out of work in winter in Minnesota. So I know that when I interviewed 101 people for my last job opening, and magically painters I asked people, one of the last interview questions I asked is, what do you want to make? What do I have to even consider to pay you to make this interesting? And anybody who said they had painting experience either said 25 or 30. Nobody said 28. Nobody said 24. Nobody said 26 and a half. It's 25 and 30. People love to cling to those magic numbers and they have no freaking idea what they mean at all. So it's a very interesting thing for me, but I will send you this template, M&D, if you like, nick@nickslavic.com, and you can run this yourself. Friesen, being able to provide health insurance is such a huge plus for paint companies. I love it that don't have to worry. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's a wonderful, and this is the truest thing about health insurance as we currently stand. People just don't even want to think about it. It's such a nightmare and a quagmire that people don't even care. They don't even want to think about it. And if us as employers can do that, it's a good thing. Just take care of that for them. We'll take on the burden so they don't have to. Paint school. We pay $10K a month on work comp. Don't you love that stuff? That's the price of doing business here. So, first year running a paint business. Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Let's go back. Let me get caught up here again. Yes, okay. Oh, Leonardo, thanks much. Okay, a couple last questions. We're out of here. How do you motivate production if paying just by the hour? Nick May does performance-based pay. So you have a good company culture, you get good people in, and you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. Not everybody's incentivized by money. I learned that a couple of years ago when we did these deep human experiments in the company. Sometimes, based on people's personality profiles, money is not the thing that drives them. It might be being part of a team, or having health insurance paid for, or loving the people that you work around, or loving the craft deeply, and you want to practice it with people that love the craft also. You may want to be part of an industry-leading company that's doing innovative things like 4-day work weeks and health insurance and coding systems and finishing shops and all this other stuff. There's lots of other things besides just that. And it's good if you get people in who are motivated by money. They will be motivated by money, especially from other paint companies who are willing to give them 75 more cents an hour as well. That's been my experience. But if you think money would solve all your problems, it does not. If it did, it would be very easy to run a paint company. You just increase wages to the point where people support their own stuff. What would you say is your biggest draw for business? Facebook. Yeah. So, all right, folks, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give you a data point. It's not true for everybody else, but I can say this. Word of mouth and referrals is number one. Those are the best. They're the most. Probably 40 to 50% of my business comes from that. You do good work. People tell other people. The other 50% is a mix. I would say 40% of that comes from direct mail advertising. I have a very aggressive company that helps me. We print out postcards and we deliver them to each door. They're not inserted in a magazine, in a newspaper. They are actually delivered to everybody's door. I will tell you this. I've done 2 years of experiments with Google AdWords, with Facebook, with Instagram, with all these other things. It doesn't work for me. I can pull a lever. I can give Facebook money and I can get leads. Yes, we can too. The people are not serious. If I get 100, if you gave me a choice of getting 100 leads from Facebook or 100 leads from my direct mail thing, I would take 100 leads from direct mail a million times over. I could probably close 50% of the leads that come from direct mail. I probably will close 5 to 10% of the things that come from Facebook. The people who respond to Facebook stuff are not as serious or not in a place where they're willing to take on a paint project. They're curious about the price of painting their cabinets, which I don't blame them, but they're not going to be a customer of yours right away. They're more curious about the price, which again, I don't hold against them, but it's not helpful to go on 100 estimates when you're only going to get 5 or 10 of them. It's helpful if you go on 100 estimates and get 50, because I also have a family and I would like to spend time with them and not waste all my time doing that. So, all right. Thank you for doing Saturday morning. I wouldn't be able to, yeah. So I think this is an evolving thought again, too, with constant improvement. I may be willing to give up some Saturday morning if engagement is like this, because I enjoy this a great deal with everybody here. So, all right. All right, folks, I think that's it. We have gone through, I've caught up with all the questions and everything else. Again, I will send you things for free. If you be patient, I usually take care of this between 4 and 6 in the morning when it's cool, quiet, calm, collected around here. All I ask for is a review, people. You don't know, well, actually, you probably do know how much it helps. You guys ask for reviews for your business. That makes your business show up a little more in Google. It makes people a little more apt to look at you and vet you and find all these good things. You guys know how good reviews help. The same thing goes for Ask a Painter. If you guys leave me a good review, it helps. It really does, guys. We get out to more people all over across the world. So thank you so much. You guys have a good weekend. I do appreciate it. We're going to sign out of Instagram. All right, everybody. So remember, PCA, Painting Contractors Association. Deep thoughts like this. You guys have the Elon Musk of the industry now leading this for the next couple of years. Buckle up. Get involved. If you want to have discussions like this, the people in the PCA are the people to have them with. When we get back to in-person events, buckle up. Again, it's going to be wild out there. We are going to do some amazing world-class things. Also, calendar my events coming soon. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate this.